In a lush garden nestled behind a cozy cottage, lived a curious little fly named Mark. With emerald wings that sparkled in the sunlight and a tiny magnifying glass slung across his back, Mark fancied himself the best detective in the whole backyard. Every morning, he buzzed through the flowers and leaves, looking for mysteries to solve. One bright morning, Mark was sipping dew from a daisy when a soft breeze carried an odd sound to his ears, a faint whisper that seemed to call his name. "Mark, Mark," it said, barely louder than the rustling grass. He turned around quickly, but no one was there. Mark's antennae twitched with excitement. A mystery! Determined to investigate, Mark zipped through the garden, eyes peeled. He buzzed past the tulip beds, peeked under stones, and even hovered near the garden gnome's beard. But everything seemed normal. Still, the whisper echoed again, clearer this time. "Follow the wind. Mark, follow." Mark paused mid-air. "Follow the wind?" he muttered. He hovered high, letting the breeze nudge him gently eastward. The whispering sound grew stronger. His tiny heart pounded. Could it be the wind itself speaking? Or someone hidden in the breeze? As he followed the wind's gentle push, Mark entered a part of the garden he'd never explored, a quiet, shady corner filled with wild herbs and tall grass. The whisper grew louder. "You're close now," it sighed. Mark gulped, both nervous and thrilled. He fluttered down to a smooth stone, scanning the ground below. That's when he spotted something unusual. A tiny trail of silver threads winding through the grass. It shimmered just like his wings. He leaned in with his magnifying glass. "Clues!" he whispered to himself. Mark followed the trail, noting how the silver thread twisted and looped like a secret path. Along the way, he spotted broken flower petals shaped like arrows. Someone was guiding him. But who? And why the mystery? He crossed a narrow twig bridge, careful not to wobble, and glided under a spider's web that hung like lace between two lavender stems. The air was cooler here, the light dappled in. Once again, the whisper returned. "Keep going, little one." Mark's wings buzzed with determination. "I'm on the case," he declared. He reached a soft patch of moss where the silver thread ended in a tiny spiral. At the center lay a smooth, round pebble, glowing faintly. Mark landed beside it, breath held. As he touched the pebble with a single foot, a warm breeze swirled around him, and suddenly, everything changed. The garden shimmered, colors brightened, and he felt lighter, wiser. The whispering voice now filled the air clearly. "You've found the heart of the garden." Mark blinked. "The what?" he asked aloud. The wind giggled like a child. "A secret place only the most curious and kind-hearted can find. The heart listens to the garden. It needed a voice, and it chose you, Mark." Mark's wings fluttered in surprise. "Me? But I'm just a little fly," the wind answered. "And yet you noticed what others didn't. You listened, you followed, you believed. That's what makes a true detective. And a good guardian." The garden around him sparkled with hidden life. Ants marched in elegant lines. Blossoms whispered greetings. Even the stones seemed to hum with quiet music. Mark felt connected to it all, like he was part of something much bigger. The pebble rose gently into the air and nestled against his tiny chest. It glowed softly. "You're the new voice of the wind," the breeze said. "You'll help protect the garden, solve its secrets, and keep it in balance." Mark smiled. "I accept," he said proudly. He felt braver than ever, like he'd grown taller somehow. The wind wrapped around him like a hug, then drifted away with a soft, contented sigh. As he flew back through the garden, everything felt new. He noticed bees chatting in low hums, petals turning ever so slightly toward him. The garden recognized its new guardian, Mark the Fly, detective of the green world. He zipped to his favorite daisy and perched atop it, looking over his leafy kingdom. "A mystery a day," he whispered to himself. "That's the Mark way." The daisy bowed slightly under him, as if to agree. From that day on, Mark patrolled the garden not just as a curious bug, but as its protector. He helped a confused snail find his shell, led a lost ladybug home, and taught a grumpy beetle how to share. At sunset, he would hover over the garden, letting the wind ruffle his wings. The whisper was still there, always gentle, always watching. "We're proud of you, Mark," it would say, and Mark would smile. One day, he found a note written in beetle scratch on a leaf. "Thank you, Mark. You helped me find my courage." Mark kept it tucked behind a flower petal near his home. It made him beam with pride. Though he was small, Mark had found his place. Not just in the garden, but in its heart. The mysteries didn't stop, but now he had help. The wind. The whispers. The garden itself. He never told anyone about the glowing pebble. Some secrets, he believed, were meant to be held close, but he wore it like a badge beneath his wing, a symbol of the journey he'd taken. As stars peeked out over the treetops, Mark settled into a curled leaf bed. The breeze sang him to sleep, a lullaby of rustling petals and creaking twigs. All was well in the garden tonight. And so Mark the Fly, the littlest detective, became the wisest guardian, always listening, always learning, and forever guided by the whispering wind.